Greetings, my scattered brothers and sisters in the Lord. Trust you know the Lord is with you wherever you find yourself scattered today, and that you know that His presence with you is more than enough for whatever you might face today. Well, I'm facing a day without my best favorite hat. You know that I kind of knocked it off the other day and I cannot find it anywhere. But anyways, life goes on. And fortunately, I got my John Deere hat. I'll keep searching. We are still in Gospel Mark chapter 4. And Jesus has been telling parables, and this is the last parable of chapter 4. Jesus told the parable of the sower. Jesus told the parable about the lamp, that you don't place it under a bed or under a bowl, you put it on a stand. Jesus told the parable about the growing seed and how the kingdom of God is like a man who sows a seed into the ground, and night or day, whether the man sleeps or gets up, the seed sprouts, it grows, and eventually harvest day comes, and then the farmer goes out and harvests it. Today we have another seed parable. The kingdom of heaven, the kingdom of God, is like a mustard seed. And a man sows a mustard seed into his garden, and then that seed, it's the smallest of all the garden seeds. It looks really insignificant, and yet it becomes a tree. And it becomes the largest tree in the garden, so large that the birds of the air come and make their nest in the tree, and they find shelter there. And that's what the kingdom of God is like. And so just thinking a little bit in terms of the kingdom of God and this mustard seed, it looks insignificant. It looks like nothing much is going to come from it. And yet it becomes the largest, it becomes the biggest, and eventually even the birds come and nest in it and they find their shelter in it. Kingdom of God looks insignificant. Starts with Jesus, looks rather insignificant in terms of his rule. He's just got some followers, but nothing that compares to the ruling council in Jerusalem of the Jews, and certainly nothing that compares to Rome. And yet the message is it's the kingdom of God that becomes the biggest, largest kingdom, and that the birds, that others come and actually find shelter in it. And I think about this maybe in a couple of ways. I think about it in terms of the church as the kingdom of God. And I know you can't make an exact equation between the church and the kingdom of God, but just in terms of, the kingdom of God is basically people living under God's rule. I like to think that the church lives under God's rule. But the people who are living under God's rule, and you just think about how insignificant it looked to start with, and yet Jesus' nation is the most significant nation, most significant kingdom in the world today. Can you just imagine the shape that the world would be in if you didn't have Jesus' nation here? If you didn't have all those people who live under the kingship, the lordship of Jesus, and you think about all the good that's done by the people of God, all the birds, so to speak, that find shelter, that are able to nest, that find refuge amongst the people of God. So I think about it that way, and just how it reveals that it looks so insignificant. And yet there are so many people that find refuge in the people of God, those who are living under the lordship of Jesus Christ. And then I think about it kind of a second way, how it can seem pretty insignificant in our own lives. And yet it grows and it becomes large in our own lives, so that, we're a people of the King. And that others can actually come and find shelter, find rest in our own lives, in our own hearts. And so the kingdom of God is like this mustard seed. It may not look like much when it goes into the ground, but it becomes incredibly significant. And I find that encouraging for ministries. I find that encouraging for the church. I find that encouraging just personally. And again, we've been talking a lot about hearing. And if we kind of stick with it in terms of the kingdom of God, like this mustard seed that's just a word, the gospel word, and it takes root, and that gospel word grows into a plant that is the largest plant that actually provides rest, security, places for people to take refuge from the harsh realities of life and of the world. Well, we'll keep chewing on these parables. God bless. Have a great day. And I'm going to search a little bit more for my hat. It's got to be out here somewhere. John Mark gave me that hat, favorite hat. Anyways, God bless. Have a great day. The search continues.